Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about, oh, a little bit slow there today. Anyway, hopefully this is working. I wanted to talk to you today about PPE, personal protective equipment, also, more commonly known as masks and gloves. And I want to try to ignore all the bad information that's out there about should you wear them, should you not wear them, and all of that debate that we've had. I think I could spend an hour just talking about that. But let's not. Rather, let's focus on how to wear this gear appropriately so you don't reinfect yourself and get into the lab a little bit. I've got a couple items here I want to go through. Let's just assume that it's a good idea to wear this stuff, okay? And I realize that not all of you have this stuff. Some of it's easier to get than others. But, I'm going to go through a bunch of different things and we can kind of whatever you've got, I recommend you use. And this video is really on how to put it on and how to take it off. In technical terms, we say how to doff, or no, what's the name of it? Doffing and duffing or something like that. Anyway, don't worry about it. I'm just going to show you how to put it on and take it off. Can't believe I forgot those terms. Anyway, how should we start? Maybe, oh yeah, start with gloves, right? So let's go through that, how to put on the gloves. But first of all, before we get into that, what you want to think about is, okay, am I going out of the house and what's that going to look like? So I have my equipment that I'm going to put on, my PPE, my protective personal equipment. And but first I want to do is take a look at what I'm wearing. So I've got some clothes on, of course, but these clothes I want to put in the wash as soon as I get home because I'm not wearing my full hazmat suit sort of thing. So these clothes will get contaminated. And I'm not working in a hospital where I have the full gown either. We're not going to cover that today. But if I was, I would still probably wash my clothes. But think about what clothes you're wearing. Can these go into the wash without a problem? I would wear something that's comfortable so that you're not disrupting things, especially your PPE. Once you put it on, you don't really want to touch it again until you take it off. So think about that. So you want to wear comfortable clothes, things you can wash. And you may want to wear clothing that will protect yourself, maybe long sleeve. However, you don't want it to be too hot or too cold because what you don't want to be doing is adjusting your layers while you're kind of wherever you are, whether it be in the shopping center or what have you. So think about that. But I'm just going to assume I'm wearing this and I'm ready to put on my PPE. One of the things I would want to do before I put on my gear is make sure that I am already clean. So if I was in a hospital environment, I would probably use the disinfectant stuff on my hands and I would wipe it all through, and that would be like stage one. If you're at home, you may want to wash your hands, do the, at least 20 seconds for washing your hands for duration, and dry them off, because if you put wet hands into these gloves, it's not going to be very comfortable. These gloves get uncomfortable as they are already very quickly because they get very moist inside, and it's kind of disgusting actually. So there's that. But yeah, get yourself in comfortable clothes, get yourself cleaned up to make sure that you're clean. If you're at home, you probably don't have to worry about that too much. It's not like you're in a hospital environment, but maybe you're just, cooking spaghetti or something, right? You want to clean up first. So do that. Now we're ready to put on our gear. And so we're going to assume that all this gear is new. At the end of the video, I'm going to talk about how you would store used gear if you're going to reuse it. And I wouldn't typically recommend that you reuse your gear. However, we're forced into a situation right now where gear reuse or PPE reuse is a reality. It's something that we have to kind of do. So let's think about that right now. All right, so we're putting on our gloves. We're gonna do that first. So putting it on is pretty straightforward, right? I just kind of like work my fingers through, and I'm trying not to rip it because this is actually pretty thin material. Pretty fragile, and if I was wearing long sleeve, I would want to pull this down over top of that layer so that it made a seal, so I wasn't exposing any of my wrists. Basically, I'm just trying to eliminate exposure to my skin and make sure that seals there. So if you're wearing something down here, it fits over top like that. Now I'm wearing a watch, and in this case, I'm just going to take it off. Do I need to wear my watch when I go out? It's one more thing that's going to trap contaminants in there, and I really don't need to do that. So make things as simple as you can. Same thing with your cell phone. When you're out there, you're not going to want to be checking your Twitter because you've got all this gear on. So I usually just put it on mute or vibrate, and then stick it in my pocket. And because I want to take it with me just in case there's an emergency, but I don't want to be playing around with it. So, all right, so now I'm going to put this glove on. One of the things you want to look for is where is the thumb? Because sometimes the thumb and the pinky finger look kind of similar on these. So you kind of want to get that lined up first, and then it just slides right in. So then I want to bring that down. Again, I'm pulling it over any sort of long sleeve that I've got. Just do that. There we go. There. Got my gloves on. They fit pretty good. You can get different sizes. These are a medium, and they fit me perfect. I'm 5'9", 170. And so they fit pretty good that way. So look for the sizing. Now that's done. Now for me, I'm going to wear, I'm just going to do the mask today. I'm not going to do eye protection today. If you want, I'll do eye protection another time, and I'll go through various forms of eye protection. I'm also not going to do the full-blown face mask or gas mask, because there is a kind of wipe down procedure for that. But I'm just going to go through what most of you are going to have at home today, okay? So now there's two different masks that we can wear. There's the surgical mask, and there's the what we refer to right now as the N95 mask. And there's variants of both. And yes, both do slightly different jobs. Just to kind of give you a brief summary that you've probably already heard before, because it's all over the news these days, is this is really to help prevent, if you're infected, you wear this, and it helps prevent it going out like this. This one's a little bit more robust, and it's got the valve there that's going to help you with breathing and help you to reduce the moisture buildup in this mask. This mask is much more effective than this surgical mask here, and I'll show you why. But there's a lot of debate actually about, well, only the people that are sick should wear masks. The problem is we don't know who's sick at this point, right? And so we just have to assume at this point that everybody's sick. So therefore, everybody should wear a mask. There's a lot of information out there about, well, not everybody shouldn't wear a mask. And there's various illogical and unscientifically proven reasons why they're saying that. But it really boils down to we just don't have enough masks. So they're telling you don't wear a mask because we want first providers and healthcare workers to wear masks instead of you, which to me is a lie, right? Which is not good. So I'm not going to lie to you. Wearing a mask is scientifically proven to be effective, and especially a good mask. And when people tell you, oh, well, you won't wear it properly, we're going to fix that today. And even if you don't wear it properly, you're still improving your odds, right? So if you want to be safe as an individual, then a mask is a good idea. So let's do this mask first. And some of the people will say, well, you don't know how to put the mask on. It's not that hard. You're basically putting it over your face. Taking it off actually is more tricky than putting it on. One of the things you want to look at here is in this particular mask, there is a right side up. When you first look at it, you're like, oh, it just looks the same. I'll just throw it on. No, actually, there is an inside and an outside, and it will say on the box that you get. So not a problem. There is a little steel piece right in here that indicates the top of the mask, because that's going to help mold to the bridge. Simply do that and see how it folds out. I put it over my ears like this. Now, this is a very comfortable mask. So if you're spending all day in a mask, this is actually quite comfortable. And not as effective, of course, but very comfortable. So now I've got it on, and you can kind of see by looking at it, it's got a good volume. It's got some areas here where, of course, there's going to be some leakage. And those are the risk areas. And so when people say masks don't work, and they say, oh, well, they don't fit properly, you need to be fit tested. No, you don't, right? Firemen, sure, they do, because they're breathing in smoke. But what you want to do is improve your odds of not getting infected. These are not 100%. Even the N95 is not 100%. It's 95% effective on a good day. So we're just simply improving our odds. So I've got it on. Now I want to take this, and don't pinch it, because that will cause an area right here that will be open. Instead, we want to gently mold it to our face by just pushing along there very gently. And you'll feel it each time you touch it. It will actually go in a little bit, and then it will kind of mold in there. And if I can, I want to try to mold this, as best I can. It's not going to be perfect with this mask, right? It's super comfortable, but it also doesn't seal. So that's the thing. Well, it's hard to talk with this already. It already fits better, right? So I would say the effectiveness of this has already gone up dramatically. So yeah, so now when I want to test it to see if there's a seal there, I'll breathe out, and I'll try to feel it. feel any air escape. I actually feel the resistance there, so that's good. And I should have actually, if you really want to feel the resistance, put your gloves on after you put this on. You can kind of feel that a little bit better. But this is actually not bad. For this sort of mask, that's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, so now I want to take this off. Okay, so I would take the gloves off first. Actually, let's do the gloves first. So we're going to take the gloves off first. And what we want to basically do is avoid touching the outside of the glove with our bare hands. So the way we would do that is, these are now biohazard material. We want to dispose of them appropriately because we're assuming that there's infected stuff on these. So I'm going to pinch right about there, and I'm just going to pull that up gently. If you haven't done this before, I'm going to do it gently. Once I can pull it up a little bit, I can get another grip on it and pull it and see how it's going inside out like that. That's what we're looking for. And then I'm just going to take it in my hand like that and roll it up. Don't let it go. Don't let it fall on you or anything like that. And now I've got it contained inside the other glove. Okay. Now I'm going to stick my finger underneath my wrist like that, underneath the glove on my wrist, so that I've got it actually underneath. So now I'm making contact with the inside of the glove, which is totally fine. And I'm going to pull that up and turn it inside out. Like that. There we go. So now I can take that and I'm throwing it in the garbage. Okay. It's in the garbage. Now I'm probably safe, but at this point I'm washing my hands. I'm using the disinfectant solution if it's there, if I'm in a hospital. But if you're at home, wash your hands. And you can do both if you want to be extra safe. But that's assuming that I've gotten infected from the gloves. As careful as I was, I just do that and I feel a little better. If you're in your car, then have the Perel or the disinfectant wipes there and wipe your hands down. Spend some time doing it. Make sure you get your thumbs and in between your fingers, everything like that, right? So now you know your hands are clean, even if you screwed up the gloves, okay? So now we're going to do the mask, and we're going to assume the outside of the mask is now infected, that it has those particles on it. So what we want to do is very carefully take this off and pull away from our face, okay? So we've pulled away from our face. We're assuming this is infected, and it's very easy. We could just dispose of that. If we want to reuse it, we could get something like this, some sort of container, and lay it in the container, put it in the hot sun. Some people I've heard are actually putting these in the oven. I don't think I would do that. I don't think it's necessarily safe, but out in the sun, if you leave it there for a week, if you've got a couple of these, then it should have time to kill any of the particles that are living in there. So the sun, of course, is known to speed up that process. So that's why they're saying that maybe it's seasonal. And also there's some vitamin D components in there too that we should mention, but I won't get into that today. But anyway, so that's how I would store it. Either dispose of it in a biohazard bag or a garbage bag that you're not going to go into later for any reason, or something like that for possible reuse. Now let's get into the more complicated N95 mask. Now this is a much more effective mask. The N95 stands for the the 95 is the percentage effective. It's a little bit misleading because nothing is going to be 100% effective, and even 95% effective is really dependent on you doing everything right as far as putting it on and taking it off and stuff like that. So yeah, let's put this on now and see what that looks like. The one thing I should mention is I shaved before I started filming because I had a little bit of stubble. And the reason I did that is because I want a perfect seal. I wanted to show that nice seal. If you have facial growth, then this will be a problem. And a lot of people have asked me, well, Rob, I've got a beard. How's that going to work? It won't, right? It's as simple as that. What you're looking for is the best seal possible with these masks. So if you have facial hair and you want to have a good seal, shave your face. I don't know any other way around it, other than maybe getting a different mask. So if you want to get a full face mask where your beard is inside the mask, maybe that'll work. But typically, I mean, that's why in the military, the people are forced to shave. And that's one of the reasons, right? So yeah, I guess you're gonna have to think about that. All right, so let's put this on. There's a few different ways to do it, but typically what we see with people is they put it on their face first, like that, and then they take the straps and they take the, typically what we see is the top one, they'll put over like that, and kind of on the crown of your head like that. Then they'll take the bottom one, and bring that over, and bring that all the way down like that. And you see the straps on this one, it's a little different than the one that we just had. And instead of going around the ear, these go around the whole head. These are less comfortable, okay? I've worn these for hours, and on about hour 2, I'm hating life. So think about that. Yeah, so you could do an hour, maybe 2, but those people in the hospital that are working 8-hour days with these on, I don't know how they do it. When you take these off, you can still see it on your face. So the same idea with this, but see how much more pressure there is on this, right? And see how it's sucked into my face. And you can tell, like with the old one, with the surgical mask, you could see a gap here. But with this one, there's no gap there. This is flush to my face. I have a nice clean shaven face. It's nice and flush. That's much better, right? Same with down here. I've got a nice double chin going on, but it's still sealing down here, right? And you can adjust it slightly to get it to the optimal position. This looks good. That brings us up to here, right? Like I know there's a bit of a gap right there, and that's what this little steel thing is. On this mask, you can see the steel frame. On the other one, you couldn't, but it's obviously there. So the same idea. I'm just going to bend this in a little bit. Don't pinch it. Just bend it in a little bit like that, and then you're going to be in a much better state. Okay, just take your time to do it. Don't be too forceful. Just slowly mold it. And now that's way better. Now I can breathe out. Actually, the check valve lets the release of air out, which is great for these masks, but it prevents me from really giving it a good test. I can't even block it, actually. So, but I can feel that, you know, it feels really snug. So, you know, I'm feeling much more protected with this one than that one. So that's good. Now, and it also helps with the moisture buildup. It releases it through this check valve here, which is very nice. So if you have an opportunity to get one with the check valve, that's very good. So same thing with the removal of this one, although I've seen a very handy way of doing it, which I thought was quite cool. You can take this with your hands and take it off, you know, step at a time with the straps, and then pull it away from your face, like most people do. But I saw someone using a Tupperware container, and they put the Tupperware container like that, and then they took off the strap. So I'm going to try that. I've never tried it before, so I'm trying it live with you tonight. See if this will work. So I'm doing that. Doing that. There we go. So that's another way to do it. You know, that way it's in here. I haven't even touched the outside of it at all. And I can then go put this in the sun, and it can air out. And, you know, if you're forced to reuse it, you know, you've got that option. So that is how that works. So hopefully that's given you some insights really quick on how to do it. It's not that hard. So you'll see in the news people saying, oh, everybody puts them on wrong, and it's so difficult, and you're more likely to get infected if you put them on. That's all that's not true, right? It's actually, there's instructions right here on how to put them on. And with this one, right, the N95, they give you some instructions as well. It's not as nice. There's no pictures, I don't think, but it's not rocket science, right? I mean, the idea here is not to touch the contaminated areas and then leave that on yourself. So that's really what you're trying to do is avoid that. And it's relatively easy. You just got to be really careful. So you want to be at each step of the movement, at each phase, you want to be probably washing your hands if you can, and being very careful where you put these. There's a lot of air that's getting sucked into this, so it will be like a magnet to these particles, and it will be pulling these particles in, and they will be sticking to this. So there should be a lot of bad things on this at the end of the day if you're out wearing this in public around a bunch of people. So you definitely want to be careful, but I would also be concerned about your clothing and your skin. So when you're coming inside the house, I throw all my clothes in the wash, and I go have a shower, and I lather up, and I feel a lot safer from that. With my clothing, I would assume there's particles on my clothing that could infect me. So I want to be very careful that way. If you Google, if you go on YouTube and you look at sneezing, and you look and you look at the air particles, they've shown that those particles can travel up to 25 feet. So people are saying, oh, you have to be 1 meter apart from people. No, that's not true, right? if people are sneezing, those particles are going out in this kind of cloud gaseous form, and they're circulating in the air for quite a while, way longer than just 1 meter. They're going up to 25 feet, which is how many meters? I forget, but a bunch, right? Like it's, what is it? I don't do the math right now, but it's far. So even if you're shopping in a store and there's only a few of you, you're in a confined space like that, I would definitely be wearing a mask for that reason, right? Not only because of and gloves, not only because of the contact with surfaces, but because of the stuff in the air. If you're and we've seen it in cruise ships, the ventilation system, in some apartments, in any sort of confined space, you're going to have this problem. And so that's why masks are so important, right? In the elevators, all that stuff. So, all right, so hopefully that has helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you have other PPE that you want to get, insight into on how to take it on and off, if you got tricks like this Tupperware thing, that was really cool. I thought that's going to help some people, especially if they have to reuse their equipment. Let me know. And yeah, if you want to see more of these videos, please subscribe down below and hit the bell button if you want to be notified. And yeah, that's it for tonight. All right, thanks a lot. Safe travels.